Hey, this is Matt Gallimore with United Country Blue Ridge Land and Auction, and I've got a real special treat today. I'm actually interviewing one of our real estate brokers and auctioneers that works for our company. He was born and raised in Floyd County, and it's Mr. Terry Thompson. A lot of you guys are going to know him, but we wanted to do this video because I wanted to get to know our real estate agents and our auctioneers. So I wanted to start out with just talking with Terry and just ask him a few questions. Terry, you've done a lot of things in your life. You know, I've known you since we were kids. Well, I was a kid, and you know, you were farming, you were a real estate agent, real estate auctioneer, and then you're just a very talented musician. You used to play with the High Noon Band. And I think a lot of people might want to know is like, how did you get started in a lot of that? How did you get started in farming?
Well, my father and mother, I grew up there on the farm, and actually it was handed down to my father from my great-grandfather. Mm-hmm. My great-grandfather, he was mainly in the timber business. He timbered the woods with oxen,
mm-hmm.
old workhorses.
Right.
And I heard a story, my grandmother even helped out once in a while with those old horses coming up Shooting Creek Mountain, pulling logs by herself.
Yeah.
And that's pretty neat. She had a old side saddle, you know, she rode.
Right.
But my dad, he had about 100, maybe a little more cows and raised calves, several bulls. And he had a feedlot operation, a pretty good size operation at one time. Well, we would feed 800 to 1,000 head or more, heifers and steers,
right,
and get them up to anywhere from 800 pounds to 900, 950, and ship them out to the Midwest. Dad was a representative in Southwest Virginia, worked with Farm Bureau, brought in a lot of cattle from different counties, put them together and shipped them as well. So hard work. He was a hard-working man. He'll be 93 here this spring.
93.
And he's already had my brother plow his 2 gardens up for him. He cannot sit still.
Right.
I'm very fortunate to have my father and mother both living.
Right.
You know.
Well, how old were you when you started working in the farm? Did they get you out there when you were real young, or was you a teenager?
Yeah, when I was a kid, I, you know, slopped the hogs. And
yeah.
I remember kind of a funny story. We had 2 old milk cows, you know, Guernsey cows, and I wanted to milk one of those cows one morning, and Dad finally said, "Well, you've watched me and your mom milk these cows." He said, "Take a bucket, go out there and milk that cow." I came back just as proud as I could be, and Dad looked down at that bucket. He said, "Well, I sure appreciate it. Milking that cow, but you got more manure in it than you do milk." But we raised about 300 acres of corn silage to feed the cattle, a lot of hay, and we from Miller Brewing Company in Eden, North Carolina, fed Brewers mash, Brewers grain, and we at one time were feeding about 45,000 pounds of that a day.
Oh wow!
Yeah. About the hay, you know, it was a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
You know, up in an old hot barn. But before, well, about the time the round baler came out, I remember I was thinking this morning, we baled a little over 22,000 square bales of hay. And when Dad rolled in there with that new round baler at New Holland,
you were loving that.
You know, like heck yeah, put the square baler in the barn.
Yeah, that's right. Never wanted to see that again.
Yeah, it was hard work, but I enjoyed the farming life, you know, and it's a lot of hard work. And like I say, he shipped a lot of cattle out west and Green Bay, Wisconsin, just all over.
Quite the operation.
Yeah.
So you were doing your farming, and I know you did that on up into your real estate career and have done that. So when we start talking about like being a real estate auctioneer and a real estate agent, a real estate broker, how'd you get started in that?
Actually, well, my son, as far as the farming, he got old enough, and my daughter too, I would have her raking hay, doing different. They both loved to farm, but it helped a lot having them, and my nephew helping Dad out on the farm where I could get out and sell real estate. But what I was going to say, I first started with a company called Land Sales Incorporated, which your dad,
my dad was with, and
was the broker,
and Roger Gallimore was
Roger
there,
and Frank Sale.
Yeah, that was a crew, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you know, trying to learn how to or get out and get listings. You know, it's tough to start out with, but I finally, you know, made a few sales and got to doing pretty good. I went with a company as a real estate agent and auctioneer in Roanoke. After that, Roanoke Land and Auction Company.
Earl
Frith, and he had a lot of pretty good sized farms, timber tracts we auctioned. Yeah, so
he was a wealth of knowledge.
He was. He taught me a lot. Earl, we became big buddies, you know, and he loved farming and animals too. And, I'd go over and help him with his farm a little bit. After Roanoke Land and Auction Company, I went with McNeil Real Estate in Christiansburg. And mainly worked the Floyd area, knowing this area better. And Carl McNeil and I became good friends. And I remember we was talking about it a while ago. We had up here in Willis, up in Floyd County, we had a farm up there, an old farmhouse, had some outbuildings, you know, a nice little farm. Well, we didn't quite, we sold a small tract or two of it, but we didn't get it all sold. The crowd was small. Well, this young couple came up and asked me, did the farm sell or are we too late? I said, well, the main part in the house and the buildings, no, it did not sell. I said, but are you interested in looking and making an offer? Well, they walked around and looked, and I helped them. Property lines, all that stuff went in the house. And I introduced them to Carl McNeil, and Carl, you know, talked to them and again telling them what a nice place it was. Well, they said, well, Mr. McNeil, you mind if we go around the building over here at the barn and pray about it? And Carl, he was a character. Carl said, he put up his hand, he said, well, you pray all you want to about buying this nice place. He said, oh yeah, and be sure to put something in that prayer about my commission.
Yeah, he was a character. He was a character.
After McNeil Real Estate, I started my own company across the street here, Thompson Real Estate, and I was a broker and managed that, had about 9, 10 agents. And did very well over there. I think I was there about 14, 15 years. And then from there came here to Blue Ridge Land and Auction. And, you know, I was just wanting, and a lot of my agents, you know, so a few of them came here and some went with other companies. But I wanted to get out and list and sell real estate like I used to and not be sitting at a desk and doing paperwork and all that stuff, you know.
Yeah, it's a lot different.
It's a whole lot different. Yeah. It gives you a lot of freedom to go with Matt Gallimore and
that's right.
You do all that.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Well, and the interesting thing where you're talking about McNeil Real Estate is sometimes how things, you know, come around in a full circle because, and I think you know this, I don't know if a lot of our audience do, but McNeil Real Estate, we bought that from, see, Eddie Gallimore bought it from Carl. And then Eddie is kind of in the same situation that you're in, wanted to get out and just sell stuff. So that's when McNeil Real Estate became Blue Ridge Land and Auction. So, and that's our office over in Christiansburg. So pretty interesting how a lot of that stuff happens. But you know, you're a super talented guy, auctioneer. I just love hearing it when you get out and do the farm auctions and do your bid calls. And if you guys have never been to an auction, a live auction where Terry is the bid caller, you're missing out because he engages with the crowd and he just makes it a lot of fun. A lot of people love listening to Terry do your bid call and everything. So I know as a kid I really enjoyed, you know, getting out there when you were doing your bid call. And yeah, and then another thing I wanted to hit on was your music. You know, the talent you have with music. You were with the High Noon Band. How old were you when you started playing the guitar and learning that?
I was thinking about that this morning. I was 12 or 13 years old. Had a Gibson guitar. Actually, it was my parents bought it for my sister, and she decided she didn't want to be a guitar player. So I picked that old Gibson up and tried to learn. I worked and worked at it. Had me a book or two, you know, and I finally just started watching other people play and chords. I finally learned chords, so I taught myself for the most part. And you know, grew up. The first band I played in was called Brandywine. Yeah, and I was in the 9th and 10th grade when I played with Brandywine. We were rock and roll.
Yeah.
You know, back in the 70s, there was some good music back in those days.
Eagles, Beatles.
Eagles, we would play Doobie Brothers and different stuff. Play up on the auditorium, you know, in the gym, sock ops. But to fit in the group, most all of them had long hair, so in my high school years, I had to grow my hair out to fit in. They told me that my hair was too short.
Your hair was too short?
Yeah, so I had to, you know, I played with them a couple of years and decided I wanted to play football instead of out playing, running here and there and playing music.
Yeah.
Through the years, I've played some bluegrass, a bluegrass group here in Floyd. We were called the Little River Express. We played different places, Roanoke, Virginia Tech, and those different places. But I'll tell you about High Noon. This year is our 4 originals. I started this group 40 years ago.
And those originals were?
George Slusher, lead guitar player, real good guitar player and singer. Joel Pratt.
Right. He was my art teacher and high school basketball coach.
Oh, really?
In 8th grade, yeah. Joel, he's awesome.
Yeah. And then my cousin Terry Thompson was one of the originals. He's a good bass player and singer.
Yeah, he used to, so my babysitter when I was a little kid, Ruth Thompson, that's her son. And Daryl, he's awesome too. So.
Yeah, we played a lot. Again, Virginia Tech, North Carolina, we did a lot of traveling.
Right.
And actually now we've talked about it a lot. We're family. You know, we're a band, we're a group, and we're family. We've watched each other's kids growing up through the year. Well, we added eventually a fantastic singer, sings a lot of lead, Patsy Cline, Teresa Swinney, and we've got a drum player that's him and his wife have 2 children. He's a real good drum player. And,
good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have had the privilege, I was telling you, well, first of all, there's Chantilly Farm here in Floyd, and Dave and Gaynell Larson, you know, running at that time. And one year I went to see Doyle Lawson in Quicksilver. Here comes Gaynell, and I thought, what does she want? She came up there and said, "Terry, you want to get on stage with Doyle Lawson?" I said, "No."
Yeah.
She said, I said, "Gay, I'll pass out or something. I just can't do it."
Yeah.
Gay's the kind of Gaynell, she's the kind of lady that you don't.
Yeah.
She don't take no for an answer.
Right.
So she grabbed me by the arm and up to the stage we go.
Yeah.
And she introduced me to Doyle Lawson, and he introduced me to Quicksilver. And I was nervous. I was real nervous, and he asked me if I wanted to sing a tune with him, and he gave me one of his guitar player's guitar. And I said, "Yeah, what do you want to sing?" He said, "I'm just sing something, kind of bluegrass." So I did a Ricky Skaggs song, I can't remember what. He said, "Well, sing another one, boy." So I did another one, and I ended up singing 3 songs with Doyle Lawson and Quicksilver.
Yeah, that's something.
And over at Carl McNeil's Music Barn in Radford, Carl kind of did the same thing to me. I went to see Ralph Stanley Sr. in his bluegrass group, and Carl just gets up there and says, "Terry Thompson, where are you at?" And I raised my hand. He said, "Get up here." He was telling them, you know, I worked for him at the time at McNeil Real Estate. I thought, what is he doing to me now? Well, he introduced me to Ralph Stanley Sr. And Ralph Stanley said kind of the same thing as Doyle Lawson. He said, "What do you want to sing, boy?" Ralph Stanley, I was standing there beside him at the microphone, and he was pretty feeble, getting on up there in age. He sat down in a stool. And so I said, "How about Angel Band?" You know, Ralph Stanley's done that for years. And so we sang Angel Band together. And Mr. Stanley I said, "Well, you sing lead, I'm just singing tenor." He went, "No." he said, I'll start out singing lead, you do tenor, and then we'll switch. You do lead and I'll do tenor. And had all of his group there playing, you know, and that was pretty neat, you know, to be able to do that.
That is something. That is something.
I have actually an autograph on my guitar of Ralph Stanley Jr.
Yeah.
At my neighbor's house, Eddie Worth. He, you know, had Ralph there, some of his band. They had a safe surfing concert up here. Ralph Stanley Jr. performed, and Eddie called me up, and they were all up there sitting around on the couch and chairs in the living room. And, so we played and sang there for a couple hours together.
Yeah.
Eddie in Richmond, this Safe Surfing Foundation, Ralph Stanley Jr. was out on the road, and Eddie was getting ready to leave to go to Richmond, and he said, "Terry, I need your guitar." I said, "Cool, Eddie, you gonna learn to play the guitar?" He said, "Well, we'll talk about that later."
Yeah.
But I took my guitar up to him, and come to find out, he said Ralph Stanley Jr. forgot his guitar. He was out somewhere or another traveling, and he wanted to know if he could use mine to use on that commercial.
Yeah.
About safe surfing. I said, "Well, tell Ralph, the deal is he's going to autograph my guitar.
Yeah.
If not, he can't play it."
You're right. Yeah.
So anyway,
is that the one you got with us here?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome.
I've enjoyed the music business, and you know.
You got met a lot of people, I bet.
A lot of people.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So again, this is Terry Thompson, real estate auctioneer and real estate broker. You can reach him at 540-230-2971. You can also go to BlueRidgeLandandAuction.com and go to the About Us or Meet Our Team page. And we'll have a lot of different agent biographies, video biographies on there. So Terry, before we close up here, you want to play us a song? Let the audience hear a song. You just said something about maybe one that Joel wrote.
Joel Pratt, you know, with the High Noon Band. I was saying, Joel wrote a lot of good songs through the years, and he lives just right up here at the foot of Buffalo Mountain.
Yeah.
And this song I'm going to do is one that Joel wrote about living in the South here in Virginia, and it's called "Maybe Down South."
Maybe Down South.
Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right.
I was born on a southern April morning. I grew up on a farm near a southern town. Mom raised us to be a Christian family, and Dad worked hard to stay on solid ground. Now here I am in this New York City subway, thinking just how good things used to be. I guess I took a lot of things for granted, but now I feel that southern sunshine calling me. Maybe down south they say things like ain't and y'all come back. Maybe down south some folks are still behind the time, but you won't see them turn away a hungry stranger, and you can tell the care by looking in their eyes. Lord, just help me now to tell New York goodbye and feel that southern sunshine once more in my eyes. I'm not saying that the South is for everybody, but it's the place where a southern man should be. I guess you could say that I'm just homesick, but now I feel that southern sunshine calling me. Well, now maybe down south they say things like ain't and y'all come back. Maybe down south some folks are still behind the town, but you won't see them turn away a hungry stranger. And you can tell they care by looking in their eyes. Lord, just help me now to tell me your goodbye, and feel that southern sunshine once more in my eyes. Then spread that southern dirt upon me when I die.